So I assume you can all see my screen. The psukim in this week's parsha. But hey and vav. Batoim shamoa tishmu b'koli. If you listen to my voice, which my time is receiving, keep my covenant. But you're going to be a precious treasure to me from all the nations. Kili cards, because the entire world belongs to me. The entire world belongs to me, but you are going to be a special, precious treasure. Mamleches Kohanim b'goy Kadosh. You are going to be, for me, a nation of priests, a holy nation, goy Kadosh. So these are the words you should speak to the Jewish people. Now, we're really not allowed to say that one pasuk in Torah is more important than any other pasuk. The Gemara tells us that there's even a pasuk which appears in Parshas Vayeshev, Achos Lotan Timna, that the sister of Lotan was a Timna, is a pasuk which has major importance, and the Gemara explains how. But if I think that if there is any pasuk which you could say seems to be more important than the rest of them, it's this one. Mamleches Kohanim b'goy Kadosh, because this gives us the mission statement of the Jewish people, what we're here for, what we're here to accomplish. And I want to show you an amazing story or a few other sources about it, but the story is right here up on the page. Mamleches Kohanim. This is what's going to make you a precious treasure from all of them. You're going to be a nation of priests, lavin, to understand, ularos, and to teach, l'chol hamin anoshi, to the entire human race, likro kulam b'shem Hashem, for all of them to call out in the name of Kadosh Baruch Hu, that all of them should, right? And to serve Hashem with one shoulder, in other words, together, everybody together. Level, and like the Jews will be effective in doing when we fulfill our purpose in the eventual future. Like it says, "Vatem konei Hashem tikro." You're going to be called the priest of Hashem. Like it says, "Kimitzion teitzei Sorah." We say this possible all the time. From Torah, the Torah will come out from Tzion, but where is it going? Right? So, the Torah is going from Tzion to the rest of the world. That everybody else should also be part and parcel of the ideas of the Torah. We should teach them to the nations of the world. How we teach them, that will come to in a second. Also, the Baal HaTurim says a similar thing. The Baal HaTurim says, "But attempt you, Mamleches Kohanim ilu zochei Israel, or all Jews were they to merit this? Hayu kulam Kohanim gedolim. They would all have been Kohanim gedolim, high priests. L'asik levo, and the eventual future tachzor lahem. They're going to have, that's his status, will come back to them. Shemar, Vatem Kohanei Hashem Tikro. You're all going to be called the Kohanim of Hashem. And it means to say, what is a Kohen Gadol? What does a Kohen Gadol do? What is a Kohen Gadol's purpose in this world? A Kohen Gadol is the person who's the leader in terms of teaching the Jewish people spiritually. The king is the political leader. The Kohen Gadol is the spiritual leader. The Navi says, "Kisif se Kohen yishmru das the Torah v'achshmi piu." The lips of the Kohen will preserve wisdom, and people are going to quest Torah from him. So all of Am Yisrael is supposed to be like Kohanim Gedolim. We're supposed to be spiritual leaders for the rest of the world. That's our purpose. That's why we're here. That's why we were created, to be the leaders for mankind, for humanity in general. And this idea of Mamleches Kohanim is expressed in what, again, I'm not sure we're allowed to say this, but in what I think is the most important tefillah of all our tefillos. And I think it's the mission statement of the Jewish people. The second paragraph of Aleinu. We hope for Kadosh Baruch Hu, to see quickly the glory of your power. To remove all avodah zarah, to fix the world with the kingship of Kadosh Baruch Hu. Now, in non-Orthodox Jews, they talk very often about tikkun olam, fixing the world. But tikkun olam for us doesn't just mean fixing the world. It's only half of the statement. Tikkun olam malchus Shaddai. to fix the world with the kingship of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Now, the name Shakai, even though, since one of the Shemas of Hashem, if you're not saying it's part of a phrase, usually say it as Shakai with a kuf instead of a dalet, is an interesting name of Hashem. What does that name mean? So Chazal say that it's a contraction of the words Sha'amar L'Olamo Dai. He said to his world, it's enough. What's enough? Enough of what? So the two Chazals, which seem to kind of contradict each other in this aspect, but they really don't. One of them says that Hashem said it's enough. There's enough concealment, enough hester, enough of me being hidden in the world. And there's another Chazal who says there's enough revelation, enough revealing of my presence in the world, which means that there's a very careful balance in this world between the being able to find God and God being hidden. And this gives people free will. People can exercise their bechira chavshis and decide to look for God or decide not to look for God, right? And they can choose to believe and serve, and choose to believe, not to believe, and not to serve. So the Lomar Dai, everything is carefully measured. Now, there's another respect in everything is measured, and that fits in very well with the statement in Olenu, which is that it's a fascinating Chasam Sofer. Chasam Sofer speaking specifically about Eretz Yisrael, not about Chutz La'aretz. I'll come back to that in a minute. Chasam Sofer says that in Eretz Yisrael, there's a mitzvah of Yishuv Aretz. Yishuv Aretz means you're supposed to settle the land of Israel. And he says the mitzvah of Yishuv Aretz requires a person to contribute in a meaningful way to society in Eretz Yisrael. Whereas a person should be a farmer, or perhaps a carpenter, or a doctor, but you have to participate meaningfully in building up the society in Eretz Yisrael. It says maybe a person's going to want to say, you know what? I just want to sit and learn Torah. I don't want to have to participate in, so to speak, getting a job, going out to work. So the Chasam Sofer is an amazing thing. He says that's he says it's the same thing, not almost. It's the same thing as saying, you know what, I want to learn Torah. I don't have time to put on tefillin or put up a mezuzah. I'm too busy learning Torah. What do you want from me? So of course we know a person, even though learning Torah, they have to put on tefillin. They have to put up a mezuzah. But and the same thing he says, if you're in Eretz Yisrael, you must participate meaningfully in the building of a Torah society with all its aspects. Now, I want to make it clear, the Chasam Sofer is only talking about Eretz Yisrael, not about Chutz La'aretz. Chasam Sofer says, in Eretz Yisrael, you have to build up the society. In Chutz La'aretz, there's no such mitzvah of Yishuv Chutz La'aretz. You don't have to build up society in Chutz La'aretz. So the Chasam Sofer is obviously talking about Eretz Yisrael in its ideal situation where we have a society which is going to be a role model for all the other societies in the world. And that's that's how we serve as a Mamleches Kohanim, by having such a society. There's a medrash that says that nations will come, non-Jews will come up to Eretz Yisrael to do business with the Jewish people. And once they come to do business with Jewish people, they'll say, you know what, let's go up to Yerushalayim and see what's going on there, what this nation is all about. And they come to Yerushalayim and they see one nation with one God, with one form of Avodas Hashem, who eat all the same food, who dress all the same way, and they say, wow, look at this amazing nation. Let's join. And they come and they're Megayer. They convert. So that is the ideal. And that's how we're in Mamleches Kohanim. We lead by example. People see what we're doing, and people say, wow, how wonderful it is to be this way. Yaakov Kamenetsky said, that his whole, the same name of Naftali Amsterdam, one of the Talmidim of Rabbi Soros Lanter, that his whole purpose in this world is to show how beautiful it is to be a Torah Jew. So so that is to be how to be on Mamleches Kohanim Goy Kodesh. Now, as I said, the Chasam Sofer is speaking about only Eretz Yisrael. The Shem Shmuel Hirsch takes it a step further. Shem Shmuel Hirsch says, you know what, that was the ideal, but the reality is we messed up. There are only about 40 or 50 years in Am Yisrael's history during the time of David, Shlomo, maybe Chizkiyahu and Yoshio, when Am Yisrael was that great example to the rest of the world. It wasn't that way most of the time in Jewish history. So he said that's the purpose of Golus. Why did Hashem send the Golus? Is in order that we should spread all around the world and in small units. demonstrate to the people around ourselves how we are live Torah lives and how great it is and how important it is that everybody should lead this life and serve Hashem and be connected to God. And this is the purpose of being Kolos all over the world, to bring that example to people all over the world, because in Eretz Yisrael it didn't seem to work out. And in the 17th century, there was a Rabbi Menashe ben Israel, who was a bit of a Mekubal. And he said that, actually went to Oliver Cromwell, who was the head of deposed King Charles I of England. And he asked that Jews be left back into England after about 400 years in which they were no longer allowed, which they weren't allowed there. So, and his reasoning was that Jews have to be scattered all over the world in order to fulfill the purpose of Golus. And only once they're scattered all over the world can the Geula be brought about, once they fulfill their missions in each part of the world. Now, according to Shamshul Hirsch, that means to actually go and be representatives of Kadosh Baruch Hu in the world. But there's another more Kabbalistic shot which I want to share with you from the Orach Chaim HaKadosh. And before I do that, let's finish this Sforno here and then go to the Orach Chaim. The Sforno says here, Begoy Kadosh over here. No, sorry, that's the Balturim. The Sforno says over here, Begoy Kadosh, Bilti Nivsadim. They won't be. They won't be. They'll never. Where he learns Kadosh is that the Jewish nation is eternal. Hello to all the alumni who came. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you to your sisters for bringing you on. The Goy Kadosh, it says here, Bilti Nifsadim. They won't be ever lost. Avakaimim la'ad be'ish, but will always live as human beings. Moshe and Yonah is going to be the eventual future. Kamro, like it says, Kadosh Yamerlo. Those who remain in Sion and Yerushalayim, they're going to be holy, meaning that they're going to remain. There's always going to be a Jewish people. Just like that which is holy is eternal. So too, Jews are eternal. And this is because the intent of Kadosh Baruch Hu by Matan Torah was to say Lohem Oz Kol Tov to give us eventually all that good which we could have. Not were they not to have gone astray with the Egel. Like it says, it's not then the Jews had to relinquish the crowns they got from Har Sinai. But that's one way of interpreting Goy Kadosh. That has to do with our eternity as a Jewish people. There's another way, which is a fascinating thing, but from the Orach Chaim, which I'll bring up on screen in a moment. Orach Chaim says, over here, Od Yermos, Fima Shapirashli B'Pasuk V'Yisem Li Skula, Sheyermos L'Biurei HaNitzotzos HaKedusha, which has to do with clarifying the sparks of holiness. Now, this is a Kabbalistic idea, which is a very fundamental idea in Kabbalah, which is everything in the world is infused with sparks of holiness. That's what gives it. That's what its mission is. The mission, actually, that's what our mission is, to uplift those sparks of holiness by using those objects for the proper purpose, using them for the purpose for which Kadosh Baruch Hu intended them l'shem shamayim. Now, this is often a bit of a tangent, just to explain this a little bit better. This is why Hasidim are very anti-vegetarian. Why? Because let us imagine that your job is to uplift the sparks of holiness in this world as much as you can, as efficiently as maximally as you possibly can. So then, let's say you wanted to uplift the sparks of holiness in grass, or in animal fodder, or in water. You would have to eat tons and tons and tons of grass and drink gallons and gallons of water. But if you have one hamburger, that hamburger, if you eat it lishma, you make a good bracha on it, and eat it for the sake of heaven, you uplifted all the thousands of gallons and all the thousands of bushels and tons of grass and fodder that animal ate. It's a much more efficient way of uplifting the sparks, and you get maximum benefit from it. So therefore, if you're a vegetarian, you're not going to have anywhere near that efficiency, and you're not going to maximize that potential. So therefore, you should eat meat in order to get that maximum uplifting the sparks. Now, of course, you might mess up. which unfortunately some of us, when we make them, might forget the bracha. We might say the bracha just, very casually. We might not eat l'shem shemaim, in which case we have the law of the conservation of matter. That matter has to go back and be uplifted again, right? It hasn't been used properly. But if a person is capable of using things l'shem shemaim, that uplifts those sparks of holiness within them. And going on to in the Orach Chaim, he says, Amrovatem, we're clarifying the difference between, we're distinguishing between the entity which clarifies and entity which is clarified. Now he says here, interesting thing here, Mamleches shel Kohanim v'shel Goy Kadosh. There are two types of Varim. He says here, the way he interprets Mamleches Kohanim and Goy Kadosh is two levels in Am Yisrael. There's the Mamleches Kohanim, he says, are the leaders. The priests are the leaders. And the Goy Kadosh is the rest of the nation, okay? Because the Kohanim are leaders, and the Goy is the rest of the nation. So Shem Beis Hadargos HaKedusha Mizbarik and Nizkar, these are the two levels. Chalkom is Fushdeis Chelokim, Ki Yesh Nivrorim, Hadargos, Adrogos Elyonis, Adrogos Elyonim, Adrogos Haktani, Ki B'chinas HaKedusha. So let me explain what he means, the way I understand it, please. There are certain people who have leadership roles. Not everybody has a leadership role. But everybody in the Jewish people is a part of Kedusha, Goy Kadosh. Everybody in this people, all of us, have some mission or purpose to uplift certain sparks, whether a lot or a little. As Chazal say, doesn't matter if your mission is a lot, mission is a little. Your mission is to do things l'shem shamayim, for the sake of heaven. And there's certain sparks of Kedusha, meaning certain missions in this world, which only I can do and nobody else can do. And some people have, so to speak, more expansive missions. Some people are limited missions. It doesn't matter. Everybody's given their mission and their purpose, the sparks of Kedusha, which they have to uplift. That's where Menachem ben Israel is saying, there's sparks of Kedusha still in England, which have to be uplifted. So we want people to be living in England. The Mekubalim say that's why there's a prohibition to go back and live in Egypt. It says, Vayinatzluas Mitzrayim, they emptied out Egypt. And the understanding is empty out Egypt means that they, according to the Mekubalim, they emptied out all the sparks of Kedusha. There's no more sparks of Kedusha left. They say that the Rambam used to sign his letters. I don't know if he did or actually didn't do it. It's a nice story that when he lived in Egypt. He said, I need Moshe ben Maimon, Moses son of Maimon, who's committing a sin every day living in Egypt. Now, of course, when you're Golos, you don't necessarily have a choice where to live. But he felt that Jews should not be leaving Egypt, despite the fact that at that point there was nowhere else necessarily for him to go. So again, I don't know if he actually wrote that or didn't actually write that. But so the idea is that those nitzotzos are all over the world, and Am Yisrael was scattered in order to uplift those nitzotzos. That means that Jews have missions wherever they go, and their mission is primarily to be the Mamleches Kohanim and serve as the example for everybody else. But it's also to be a Goy Kadosh. By that I mean, even if a person has no direct influence on other people, even if you're not a role model for other people. Of course, everybody is a role model in some way, shape, or form. Everybody is a member of society. Everybody has friends. Everybody has relatives. Everybody has acquaintances. But even if you're not a role model to larger society, the Rambam says whenever you do a mitzvah, you have to think that the world is half merit, half demerit, half good, half bad. And with doing the mitzvah I'm doing, amachriyas atzmi, I make the balance go down on the side of good for myself, the Chol Yisrael, all the Jewish people, the Chol Olam Kulo, and the entire world, the Kapschus. Why my one mitzvah, done in the privacy of my room, can be done and uplift the entire world. Am Yisrael has this capacity for Kedusha to bring holiness into the world, that our mitzvahs bring this holiness into the world and make the world a better and more perfect place, even if it's not direct, even if it just happens by the Goy Kadosh, not by the Mamleches Kohanim, even if it's not by example, but just by doing something l'shem shamayim and having in mind that it be something which actually has an impact on the world. And that's how I have to view everything which I do in this world within that framework. So the Orach Chaim is saying that is, Hashem gave us that quality, that segula, the precious quality of being able to serve as role models and also be able to uplift the world And every person is important. Rishim Shkop says that if you have a big machine, every single bolt, every single nut, every single screw, even the nuts, are important. They're significant. They have a role to fulfill in this world. And that's all part of the Mamleches Kohanim B'Goy Kadosh. And that all brings back l'sakelo machushadai. Was machushadai, and there should be an optimal balance. You should have a functioning society, which is an example of how Hashem wants a society to function in this world. According to Hashem Shvos, every Jewish society everywhere in the world has to have that microcosm of a Torah nation in that community. That society shows how to fix the world machushadai. Not just tikkun olam without malchus shaddai, but everything should be done with the with the proper proportion. So Rambam says, not too much, not too little. That's in the Shvila Zahav, in the golden mean, the golden path. So this is all something which actually Rabbi Avram, the son of the Rambam, mentions in his commentary in the Torah here. It says here, Uperish Mamleches Kohanim. He says, what's the meaning of Mamleches Kohanim? The priest of every congregation, who a manhig is its leader. He is the most honored among it. And he is the role model to that society. That the people of the congregation should go in his pathway. To find the proper path through him. And he said, Tiyu atem mishmiras torosai. You should be in keeping my Torah. Manhigei ha'olam, the leaders of the world. Hayachas shalochem, your relationship. Aleihem, to the rest of the world. Kiyachas hakohen, like the relationship of a kohen, the priest of the Sotus congregation. Yehu olam mikvosayim, the world should go in your pathways. You mechakim, they should imitate. Es ma'asechem, your deeds, v'yishalchem darchechem, and walk in your ways. Zeh tam shigalti befeirush mikro zeh min Abba Marizal. Says Rabbi Avram and Rambam. This is how he heard the understanding of this pasuk from his father, the Rambam. Zeyu, and how he accomplishes. In Yushmul Asos Kakasu, we do what it says we're supposed to do. Ushmartem Asis is a pasuk in Dvarim Perak Dalet. Ushmartem Asisem, you should preserve and you should do. Because if you do what you're supposed to do, people are going to see how wise and how understanding this nation is. People are going to say this nation is such a wise and understanding nation, and therefore these are people we should emulate. These are people we should be like. And he says the pasuk promises that this will eventually happen, which is a good promise, because sometimes it seems that we're not necessarily doing this the right way right just now in our point in history. But at some point it says that this will be Shlomo says will eventually be fulfilled. And that which Chazal, the Torah, Hashem says, Aidei Yeshayahu, through Yeshayahu Navi, V'alchu Amim Rabim. Many nations will go. V'amru l'chuven alei har Hashem abeis elokei tzom v'gomer. They're going to say this. What goes back to the Medrash I mentioned earlier, that eventually what didn't happen necessarily that much in the past, where everybody would go up to Yerushalayim and see how the Jewish nation conducted themselves. They all would emulate that and then also follow in the pathways of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's interesting that there is a Navi in the Nevuah says, I don't know if it's the same Nevuah or not, but it says that every nation will be required to go up to Yerushalayim on Sukkot. Not just the Jews, every nation. Because that's the time when we know we bring 70 korbanos in the Beis HaMikdash, which correspond to the 70 nations of the world, and that's the time when they're supposed to come up and learn from us how they're supposed to function in this world, emulating Am Yisrael, perhaps even ideally converting. Although, as he says later on here, at a minimum, that they should believe in Hashem and keep Hashem mitzvos b'nei Noach. So, this idea is that we have a mission and purpose in this world, and this pasuk is teaching us that we're given unique qualities. We are segula in order to be able to accomplish this purpose of leading everybody else. I saw today, something I learned earlier today, that a person is never supposed to take pride and gloat over anything they do, which is obvious, right? A person's generally supposed to keep their accomplishments to themselves, except under one circumstance. One circumstance is that if you are successful influencing others and having an impact, you should share that and tell people that you were able to influence others and have an impact in this world. And obviously, the reason is because that's why we're here. The reason we're here is to influence others and have an impact in this world in a positive way. Each one of us on others, again, it's reciprocal as well. In other words, I have an impact on you, you have an impact on me. Everybody's intertwined in that way. But that you're supposed to be able to share that with the way in which you influence others in order that other people should learn from you and also want to have influence on others. And I can tell you that that is actually the greatest feeling when some kid writes that the only reason why he stayed from was because of me, or somebody else, the person says that they went into learning Torah because I influenced them. That's the greatest feeling in the world. I think it's worth all the suffering one goes by being in teaching. The fact that one can have such an influence, and we should all be zoche to have this fulfill the role of being a Mamleches Kohanim b'Goy Kadosh. We should all have because we all have a part in it. And I should add something specifically. Tonight I didn't say anything specifically about girls or women, but I should say one thing specific, which is in our world today, many men have decided, whether they're right or wrong, that their one mission is to learn Torah. And there is not a variety of purposes and missions and roles among men. But there is a variety of missions and purposes and roles among women, much more so. And therefore, women have the opportunity to be Mekadesh Shem Shamayim in ways and roles that men don't have for whatever reason. Again, the way society is developed, are not open to them. You should all be zoche to fulfill your unique and special role in being part of the Mamleches Kohanim b'Goy Kadosh and bringing the world to the ultimate tikkun l'sakin olam malchus Shaddai. Thank you very much for participating. Again, thank you especially to the alumni who came. And we should be zoche to learn Torah in the future as well. Take care, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.